You ever had that feeling you're trying to describe somewhere, maybe, I don't know, your favorite cafe or a place you went on holiday, and the words you use just feel a bit, well, flat. You
Yeah.
say it was pretty, or maybe it was a busy street.
Yeah, happens all the time.
You want to make it vivid, make someone else really see it, right?
Exactly.
Well, that's what we're getting into in this deep dive. We've gone through some really interesting material on how to paint better pictures with words when you're describing places.
Yeah, lots of good stuff there.
And our mission today, pretty simple, really. We want to give you some practical tools, some effective ways to describe the world around you so it, sticks.
Get those aha moments going.
Exactly. Without it feeling like you're reading some dry textbook.
It's so true, though, that struggle to get beyond the really surface level stuff. Everyone feels that. We usually just grab the obvious word, but the real, magic happens when you get specific. Think about it. Instead of just saying a small town, what kind of small town is it? Is it quaint? Maybe cobblestones, flower boxes?
Okay.
Or is it sleepy, where maybe the loudest thing you hear mid-afternoon is a lawnmower somewhere?
Right. Different vibe.
Or maybe it's historic, old buildings that feel like they have stories.
It's like picking the perfect color, isn't it?
Yeah.
The exact shade to capture the mood.
Exactly, the perfect brushstroke.
Why do we actually build up that vocabulary?
Right.
Find those better words when, like you said, nice just isn't enough.
Well, one really effective way to expand your descriptive toolkit is using figurative language.
Figurative language.
Yeah,
Okay.
so basically creating comparisons, helping your listener picture what you mean. Simile saying something is like something else, or metaphor saying something is something else more directly.
Gotcha.
So, for instance, instead of just saying the main square was busy,
Yeah.
you could maybe say the main square was like a beehive just buzzing with activity.
Oh, yeah. Okay, that makes way more sense.
Yeah.
It's not just telling me it's busy. I instantly get this image, all that energy.
Right.
It really does sort of drop you right into the scene.
And that leads to another important thing about making descriptions really immersive. It's about tapping into personal memories, experiences, yours, and maybe sparking some in your listener too.
All right.
Think about those places that mean something specific to you. Maybe that old bookstore, the one with the creaky floors.
Yeah.
Or, I don't know, a particular park bench where you had a really important chat once.
Absolutely. I used to go to this one cafe. Wasn't much to look at, honestly, but the smell of their cinnamon rolls baking first thing in the morning just takes me straight back every time I even think about it.
And that's fascinating, isn't it? How those sensory details, the smells, the sounds, even taste, sometimes they have this amazing power.
Yeah.
They unlock memories. They create this really strong connection for your audience. Smell especially, it has such a direct line to the memory parts of our brain.
Wow.
So it's super evocative. It's like you're not just describing the place, you're almost sharing the feeling of being there.
That makes total sense. It's way more than just what you see. But what about places that change? They aren't static. How do we describe that?
That's a really good question. Because places do change, and mentioning those shifts, those layers, can add real depth.
How so?
Well, maybe that record store you loved is now a trendy little shop.
Right. Happens all the time.
Or a shiny new library stands where there used to be just an empty lot. Talking about those changes tells the story of the place, shows its evolution.
Yeah, it's like seeing the different layers of paint on an old door or something. You get a sense of its history.
Exactly, like the rings on a tree.
Okay, so we've got the physical space, the senses, the history. But what about the people, the community? How do we capture that?
Ah, yes. The people. Crucial. And again, we want to move beyond the generics, like just saying friendly.
Right. Friendly locals.
Yeah, everyone says that. Try to get more specific. What makes the people them? What do they do? What are they passionate about?
Okay, like what?
Well, instead of just welcoming, maybe say, you'll find this thriving group of ceramic artists in this part of town.
Ah, I see.
Or down by the harbor, seems like almost everyone you meet is tied to the fishing industry somehow.
Oh, that gives you so much more flavor, doesn't it? Real insight into the place's character.
Definitely.
And I remember reading about using those sort of blank-friendly phrases like dog-friendly or foodie-friendly.
Yes, that's a great shorthand. It's a really concise way to signal the vibe, the values of the community.
Okay, good tip.
Now, sometimes when we're trying really hard to be descriptive, focused on getting it perfect, we can sound a bit stiff. a bit formal.
Oh, yeah, I know that feeling. You want to sound good, but you end up sounding like you swallowed a dictionary or something.
Right. Or like you're reading from a, travel guide.
Exactly. So how do we avoid that? How do we keep it natural?
I think the best advice is just to imagine you're talking to a friend, telling them about this place.
Okay.
Don't be afraid to use contractions. It's don't, wasn't. Use everyday language, even a bit of slang if that's how you normally talk and it fits.
So be yourself, basically.
Be yourself, yeah. But a descriptive version of yourself. You're still aiming for those richer details we talked about.
Right. Find that balance. Being authentic,
yeah,
but also using those more colorful and specific words.
Exactly that.
Okay, so when we're trying to describe a whole area, like a city, neighborhood, or even a whole town, it can feel overwhelming. Where should we focus?
Yeah, you can't describe everything. It helps to think about guiding your listener. What are the defining features?
Like what kind of things?
Well, focus on maybe distinct neighborhoods, if they have different feels. Any major landmarks, obviously, and definitely the food scene.
Food. Always important.
Always. Food is such a powerful window into a place, into its culture. It connects with people.
I love that. It's like giving your listener a map, but just showing them the really key spots, the highlights they need to know.
That's a great way to put it. The highlights reel, yeah.
Giving them a feel for the place.
Precisely. And while we're aiming for detail, we also have to remember who we're talking to, the audience.
Right. What about them?
Well, if you're describing somewhere totally unfamiliar to them, you might need to give a bit more context, a little background.
Okay, so don't assume they know what you're talking about.
Exactly. It's a balancing act, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
You want enough detail to be engaging, to paint that picture, but not so much that someone new to it gets lost or overwhelmed.
So like being a tour guide again.
Yeah, a tour guide with words. You're building that world for them step by step.
Okay, so let's recap quickly. We've covered a lot of ground here.
We have.
Making descriptions of places really pop. It's about moving past those generic words, right?
Definitely. Getting
Great.
specific.
Using things like similes, metaphors,
Yeah.
that figurative language to create images,
Making connections.
weaving in personal memories, and those really important sensory details, smells, sounds.
Bringing it alive through the senses.
Remembering to mention how places change, showing that evolution.
Adds that layer of history.
Getting specific about the people, the community, not just saying friendly.
What makes them tick?
And trying to sound natural, like you're talking to a friend.
Yeah, keeping it conversational.
Focusing on key things like neighborhoods, landmarks, food,
Giving that highlights map.
and always, always keeping your audience in mind.
Knowing who you're guiding. Absolutely. It's about layering all of those things together.
Creates a much richer, more memorable picture for your listener.
And, connecting this back to why you might be listening, wanting to absorb knowledge effectively.
Yeah.
Mastering these techniques isn't just about describing places. It's really about communicating any information in a way that's more engaging, more impactful, making it stick.
That's a really good point. It makes the information resonate more.
Exactly.
Okay, so here's something for you to think about after this. A final thought. Picture a place that's really special to you. Could be anywhere, childhood home, maybe a park, a city you visited once.
Okay.
Now, thinking about all the techniques we just talked about, how could you describe it differently now? How could you make it truly come alive for someone who's never, ever been there?
What new details would you pull out?
Yeah. What specific thing, a smell, a sound you remember, maybe a quick memory of someone you saw there? What would you include to make that place feel totally real for them?
All right. Let's move on to strategy number 31, which involves actively and consciously cultivating the habit of using English for taking mental notes and formulating quick reminders throughout the course of your day. Instead of instinctively formulating fleeting thoughts, urgent reminders, or brief observations in your native language, make a deliberate and consistent effort to quickly jot them down within the internal landscape of your mind, using simple and direct English phrases. For example, if you suddenly remember the crucial task of needing to purchase milk on your way home, consciously think to yourself in English, "Must remember to buy milk later." If you have a significant meeting scheduled for 3 p.m. mentally, create a brief English reminder. Important meeting at 3 o'clock. This seemingly minor yet incredibly impactful practice helps to seamlessly integrate the English language into your immediate memory processes and actively reinforces the cognitive habit of thinking in English for practical, everyday purposes. Our 30-second highly effective strategy centers on actively establishing strong and memorable associations between new English words and corresponding physical sensations and deeply felt emotions. When you encounter and learn a new adjective such as happy, don't just passively memorize its dictionary definition. Actively try to recall a specific instance in your past when you experienced genuine happiness and consciously connect that vivid emotional state directly with the English word happy. Similarly, when grappling with words that describe physical sensations, such as cold, warm, rough, or smooth, make a deliberate effort to evoke the actual physical feeling associated with that word as you think of its English equivalent. This multisensory and emotional connection can make English vocabulary more visceral, more personally relevant, and significantly easier to recall and utilize without the need for intermediary translation through your native language. Strategy. Number 33 encourages you to actively and consciously plan your future activities, upcoming events, and long-term goals entirely using the English language. Whether you are mentally outlining your plans for the upcoming weekend, envisioning the itinerary for an eagerly anticipated trip, or strategizing the various steps involved in a future project, make a deliberate effort to formulate your intentions, the necessary actions, and the desired outcomes entirely in English. This proactive approach helps to extend the domain of your English thinking beyond the immediate present moment and seamlessly integrate it into your cognitive processes related to forward thinking, goal setting, and future anticipation. Our 34th intellectually stimulating strategy involves actively engaging with the often subtle nuances of English language humor, such as playful jokes, clever puns, and insightful witty remarks, and consciously striving to understand the underlying English, thought processes, and cultural references that make them funny. Instead of simply noting that something is humorous, actively analyze why it is funny in English, paying close attention to the specific wordplay, the unexpected twists in meaning, and any underlying cultural assumptions or references that contribute to the comedic effect. Actively trying to get the humor in English can be an enjoyable and highly engaging way to tap into more nuanced and culturally embedded aspects of English thinking. Strategy number 35 emphasizes the importance of cultivating a subconscious, gut feeling, or intuitive understanding for correct English grammar and natural sentence structure through extensive and varied exposure to authentic spoken and written English. As you consistently listen to and read a wide range of English materials, consciously pay attention to what sounds right and what sounds off to your ear, even if you cannot consciously articulate the specific grammatical rule that is being followed or violated. Trusting and refining this developing linguistic intuition, honed through consistent exposure, can lead to more natural, less hesitant, and ultimately more fluent English thinking and speaking. Our 36th valuable strategy encourages you to actively practice simplifying complex or abstract thoughts into clear and basic English. When you find yourself grappling with a multifaceted idea or a conceptually intricate topic, make a deliberate effort to break it down into its fundamental core components and express these basic elements using simple, readily accessible English vocabulary and straightforward sentence structures. This cognitive exercise helps you to think more clearly, more directly, and more efficiently in English, even when you are dealing with more abstract or challenging concepts. Strategy number 37 involves consciously and deliberately utilizing the English language for your internal self-talk, your personal affirmations, and your moments of self-encouragement. When you are facing a challenging task, striving to overcome an obstacle, or simply trying to motivate yourself to persevere, consciously switch your internal monologue to English. Simple yet powerful English phrases such as, "You absolutely can do this," "Keep going, you're making great progress," or "Almost there, just a little further," can become potent tools for reinforcing positive English thinking and building your confidence in using the language. Our 38th creatively stimulating strategy suggests actively engaging with English language storytelling in its myriad forms, including captivating works of fiction, engaging folklore and timeless myths, and consciously allowing your imagination to run freely and vividly within the linguistic landscape of English. As you immerse yourself in these narratives, actively visualize the described scenes in your mind's eye. Imagine the characters' internal thoughts and emotions expressed in English, and allow your mind to construct and inhabit the world of the story using English as your primary language of thought and imaginative creation. Strategy number 39 serves as a crucial reminder of the synergistic importance of consistent and strategic review of previously learned English concepts, coupled with a proactive and deliberate effort to actively seek out and seize opportunities to apply this knowledge in your everyday English thinking. Avoid the common pitfall of allowing newly acquired knowledge to overshadow or displace what you have already learned. Regularly revisit previously studied vocabulary, fundamental grammar concepts, and useful idiomatic expressions, but critically, do so by actively thinking about their nuanced meanings and appropriate usage in English, rather than simply passively recalling their translations in your native language. This active cognitive engagement significantly strengthens the neural connections that support and facilitate fluent English thinking. And finally, strategy number 40 underscores the profoundly multifaceted and deeply rewarding nature of the entire language acquisition process. Always remember that training your brain to think naturally and fluently in English is not a linear, step-by-step process, but rather a rich and intricate tapestry skillfully woven from consistent effort, the strategic application of diverse techniques, and a genuine and enthusiastic engagement with the English language in all its vibrant and expressive forms. Embrace the inevitable challenges that arise along the way with curiosity and unwavering perseverance. Celebrate each and every milestone you achieve, no matter how seemingly small, and maintain an unwavering trust in your innate capacity to unlock the full and transformative potential of your English language fluency. By actively and consistently integrating these diverse and powerful techniques into your daily learning routine, you will not only effectively train your brain to think directly in English, but will also cultivate a deeper, more intuitive, and ultimately more rewarding understanding and profound appreciation for the English language and its rich and diverse cultural heritage. Keep exploring the boundless possibilities of English, keep practicing with unwavering dedication, and keep believing in your own incredible ability to achieve your ambitious English language goals. All right, let's move on to strategy number 41, which involves actively and consciously training your brain to interpret and process visual information directly through the lens of the English language. When you encounter a picture, a complex chart displaying data, or an intricate diagram illustrating a process, make a deliberate and sustained effort to describe its key elements, understand its underlying message, and analyze its components entirely in English. For example, if you're examining a line graph, consciously think to yourself, The solid blue line clearly represents the trend in overall sales figures. There is a noticeable and significant peak in sales performance during the third fiscal quarter. The general and overarching trend indicated by the graph is one of steady upward growth over the observed period. This consistent practice actively trains your brain to bypass the intermediary step of translating visual cues into your native language, and instead directly encode and process this information using English vocabulary, grammatical structures, and analytical frameworks. Our 40-second highly effective strategy centers on actively and consciously developing a nuanced awareness of and actively associating English words and phrases with a diverse spectrum of communicative registers and tones. Pay close attention to how native English speakers strategically select different vocabulary, idiomatic expressions, and sentence structures depending on the specific context of the communication, whether they are engaging in formal professional discourse, casual informal conversations with friends, expressing serious and weighty opinions, or employing lighthearted and humorous language. Make a deliberate and ongoing effort to categorize new English words and expressions that you encounter according to their appropriate level of formality, their typical emotional tone, and the specific communicative situations in which they are most commonly employed. Furthermore, actively practice using these newly categorized words and phrases in your internal mental monologue, consciously adopting the corresponding register and tone to enhance your understanding of their appropriate usage and to make your English thinking more nuanced, contextually aware, and attuned to the subtle social cues inherent in the language. Strategy number 43 encourages you to actively and deliberately cultivate the habit of recalling past events, cherished memories, and significant personal experiences by consciously thinking about them in the English language. When you find yourself reminiscing about something that has happened in your past, make a concerted effort to mentally replay the sequence of events, visualize the key individuals involved, and vividly recall the specific locations by consciously using English vocabulary and sentence structures to frame your recollections. Actively describe the people who were present, the specific details of the places where the events unfolded, and the range of emotions you experienced during that time, all within the linguistic framework of English. This powerful practice helps to deeply integrate the English language into your autobiographical memory, making it a more natural and readily accessible language for your internal narrative and your personal reflections. Our 44th intellectually stimulating strategy involves actively and critically engaging with English language debates, thoughtful discussions, and persuasive arguments across a variety of topics, and consciously striving to follow the logical flow of the arguments presented, and to formulate your own informed opinions and reasoned responses entirely through the lens of English thought processes. Make a deliberate effort to listen to or read well-structured debates and insightful discussions on subjects that genuinely pique your interest, and consciously analyze the different viewpoints being presented, the evidence and reasoning employed. To support those viewpoints and the overall logical coherence of the arguments, all while thinking in English. This active and analytical engagement can significantly sharpen your critical thinking skills within the English language and help you to approach complex issues and form well-reasoned conclusions using English as your primary cognitive tool. Strategy number 45 emphasizes the importance of cultivating a tangible sense of cognitive flow in your English thinking, characterized by your thoughts moving smoothly, seamlessly, and naturally from one idea to the next without the need for constant conscious effort and deliberate linguistic construction. This valuable sense of fluency in thought typically develops gradually through consistent practice, increasing confidence in your linguistic abilities, and a growing familiarity with the natural rhythms and patterns of English discourse. As you become increasingly comfortable with thinking in English, consciously strive to relax your mental grip and allow your thoughts to unfold organically and spontaneously within the linguistic framework of English, rather than attempting to meticulously control every individual word and grammatical structure before it arises in your mind. Our 46th highly beneficial strategy encourages you to actively practice the skill of paraphrasing English information using your own readily accessible English vocabulary and comfortable sentence structures. When you encounter new information presented in English, whether through listening or reading, make a conscious effort to rephrase the key concepts and main ideas in your mind using different words and grammatical constructions that you are already familiar and confident in using. This valuable exercise not only reinforces your comprehension of the original material, but also significantly enhances your cognitive flexibility within the English language, allowing you to express the same ideas in multiple ways and strengthening your ability to think around linguistic challenges. Strategy number 47 involves actively and deliberately utilizing the English language as your primary tool for brainstorming new ideas, generating creative solutions to problems, and exploring different possibilities. When you are faced with a challenge requiring innovative thinking, or when you are simply seeking to generate new concepts, consciously try to think through the entire process entirely in English, jotting down relevant keywords, short phrases, and nascent ideas in English as they emerge in your mind. This proactive engagement of English in your creative and problem-solving processes helps to establish it as a natural and intuitive language for your cognitive exploration and innovation.